Real Stories Tapes True Crime is your new true crime podcast fix. In our first season, we'll explore suspicious deaths at a California hospital and a skydiver landing dead on a suburban driveway with a bag containing guns, drugs, and night vision goggles. To join our investigation, search and subscribe to Real Stories Tapes True Crime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts.
The events in this program are based on a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Coming up on Bizarre Murders, when a bored housewife attempts to spice up her sex life by secretly having her new boy toy move into her walk-in closet, she gets way more than she bargained for. Roanoke, Virginia, 2011. Randy Roberts, 37, a mild-mannered small business owner looking for friendship and possibly love. Even though he's a button-up, slacks loafers kind of guy, he knows he has a lot to offer the right lady, and he's working hard at meeting her. After spending years singularly devoted to starting his own business, Randy's finally turning his focus to finding a wife. In hopes of improving his odds, Randy's joined several different online dating websites. Catch, Cinder, and one that cuts right to the chase, Let's Get Hitched. A very popular website for all types of ladies who have every detail of their dream wedding planned. Now they just need to find a groom. Randy dives right in and spends most of his nights combing through the profiles.
Within law enforcement, it's no secret that people who are late bloomers are more vulnerable to people who would do them harm, who are criminals, con men, and those who are less than trustworthy.
Meet Candace, 33. She's on the opposite end of the spectrum from Randy. She's often referred to as a social butterfly and has dated more than her fair share of men. But she can't quite seem to meet a good one, or at least one that isn't still in a garage band with his friends from high school. For the last 5 years, Candace has been struggling. She's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and takes several different antidepressant medications. Because of her condition, it's hard to find a full-time job. Candace delivers pizzas 3 days a week.
Hey, Randy.
Hey!
Candace has one really good tipper every Tuesday and Thursday, the polite, awkward man she only knows as Randy. At first, Candace doesn't really pay much attention to him, but the more she gets a look at his shy smile and coy side-eyed glances, she finds his fumbly flirting sweet, and all the attention gives a jolt to her self-esteem. Eventually, she finds herself dressing more and more provocatively on Tuesday and Thursday nights, just to give him a thrill and make him blush.
Is that a heart? Oh man, that's amazing!
Finally, one night, Randy musters up the courage to ask his pizza delivery goddess out.
Well, I was wondering if you might want to go out on a date with me.
I would love to.
She gladly accepts. Their first date is like a lightning strike to him. He crushes hard for her within the first hour. Candace has never been courted like this before and appreciates Randy showering her with constant attention. Two young lovers in a whirlwind romance. Candace accepts Randy's surprise marriage proposal.
I'm no relationship expert, but common sense would say it's probably wise to know somebody for a full 4 seasons before jumping into a permanent relationship with him. And it's probably likely that people who know Randy and Candace were not thrilled about how quickly they were jumping into theirs.
When the engagement's announced, Candace's best friend since childhood, Larry, is very concerned. Candace has been confiding in him that Randy's completely Dolesville and rather lackluster in the bedroom. As it turns out, people aren't too thrilled on Randy's side either. Randy comes from an old, well-to-do Roanoke family, and his mother never wanted to cut the cord. In fact, she and Randy talk every day at 1 p.m. without exception.
I'm ready for this.
Mournfully, his mother had been heard on more than one occasion confiding to her bridge friends that Candace is by no means a suitable wife for her son. Candace is a girl with a reputation.
Rumor has it that the ladies at the bridge game considered Candace to be well navigated. I love that term. It means she's been around the block.
Despite the naysayers, Candace and Randy tie the knot in a small ceremony at the county courthouse. Then they move into a new home in an affluent Roanoke neighborhood. Much to everyone's surprise, the couple work in Randy's hardware store together. They build a thriving business. The store requires all of Candace and Randy's time and energy, and before they know it, the couple has spent every minute living and working together for 10 years.
Well, did you set the alarm or not? You know I'm
Eventually, the stress of owning and running a successful business and the strain of spending too much time together takes its toll on Candace and Randy's marriage. Randy likes quiet conversations, long walks on the beach, and is a Sunday night feet up on the coffee table video games kind of husband. Something that's starting to repulse Candace.
Really?
She feels trapped in her marriage and longs for the carefree days of her youth spent with bad, broke musicians who smell of that seductive combination of sweat and cigarette smoke. Fed up and claustrophobic, Candace moves out and gets her own place.
Anyone who's been married for any length of time can tell you that couples who spend too much time together can start to get on each other's nerves, and that is the road to disaster and divorce. Oh, hey, I'm looking for one of these.
Over the next few months, Randy does his best to convince his wife to come home. On her part, Candace starts to realize life on her own again isn't quite as spectacular as she remembered. She also realizes that things about Randy aren't so bad, and that she actually really likes one thing in particular: his money. She makes up her mind to return home to her husband and to their somewhat blah but unfailingly steady and stable life. Then, one afternoon, a few months later, things take a dramatic turn. A frightened Candace frantically beats on her neighbor's door. When the woman answers, Candace pleads with her to call 911. Her husband, Randy, has just been murdered. Randy Roberts and Candace get married after a whirlwind courtship. After a decade together, the couple has hit a rough patch and decide to separate. Eventually, they reunite, and for a few short months, everything is fine. Trembling, Candace stands on the steps of her neighbor, begging the woman to call 911.
Randy has been murdered. Call.
She shockingly reveals that she has a jealous lover, Ricardo, who has just murdered her husband, Randy.
Call 911. Oh my God.
When a man is murdered in his home, 90% of the time, the wife is going to be your first suspect. So now the police have to begin evaluating the behavior and the actions of his wife.
Oh, here we go.
The police arrive at Randy and Candace's home and quickly notice things just aren't adding up. Randy Roberts' body is in a full state of rigor mortis.
Rigor mortis is the stiffening of the muscles in the body, making the body rigid. That means Randy's been dead somewhere between 14 and 18 hours, so it's not possible that he was just murdered.
The scene also looks staged. Randy's body is found stuffed in a bathtub, wrapped in a blanket, with his head covered with a white plastic convenience store bag. It seems to them it's supposed to indicate that he was strangled and suffocated to death. However, looking at the man's numerous wounds, it's pretty clear that Randy was bludgeoned to death.
With a number of wounds on the body, this is indicative of what we call overkill. And overkill is the continued assaulting of a body much beyond what is needed to cause death. And that's usually a sign of rage, anger, and betrayal.
Inside the closet a few feet away from the bathroom, police find an inexpensive black stiletto high heel covered in blood. To the police, it's pretty clear the stiletto is their murder weapon. Also, the sheets on the couple's bed have a story to tell of their own. They're in complete disarray, except for the very noticeable dried blood puddle left from the stab wounds that seem to match Randy's chest.
The location of a murder says so much about the crime. For instance, if the murder occurs in a bedroom, it's an indication that it could be two romantically involved people. If there's no robbery, it could simply be the settling of a personal grudge.
Candace Roberts' story has been pretty much blown to pieces by the evidence at the scene. So, the top two questions on the minds of investigators are, if Randy died the night before, what has Candace been doing the last 16 hours? A few months after Candace returned home, the couple had gone to downtown Roanoke to watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. After the show, Randy wanted to go home and turn in for the night. Excited by the spectacular show, Candace wanted to stay out late and hit up a few bars and party for the night.
Yes, see you in the morning. All right, sleep good.
Bye.
Okay, love you.
Randy begrudgingly accepts and goes home, leaving Candace by herself. Candace stumbles into a dirty dive bar on the outskirts of downtown. As she walks into the bar across the room, she locks eyes with an exotic stranger. The good-looking young man, Ricardo, is a day laborer from Mexico. He's also out on the town, hanging with a friend, and they've been celebrating and drinking all night. After several shots of liquid courage, Candace convinces the two young men to come with her to a seedy, pay-by-the-hour motel where they can all celebrate in private with a threesome.
What was Randy thinking? I mean, he left his wife all alone downtown so she could go binge drinking. I mean, the woman had bipolar disorder. She was prone to making irrational decisions, and she had no impulse control.
Candace and Ricardo start a torrid affair. It's invigorating and exciting, and they are almost inseparable. But Ricardo is homeless, and Candace can only think of one solution.
You need a place to stay. Ta-da!
In her master bedroom walk-in closet, Candace has made up a sleeping bag for Ricardo, tucked away behind her clothes. It's the perfect place for her young Latin lover to squat and hide.
Time for work.
Every morning, she tells Randy she can't go into the office because of her bipolar disorder.
Let's see.
All right, I'll see you soon.
This lie is the perfect cover and leaves Candace free to spend all day having sex with Ricardo. Unfortunately for her, though, she really has no idea how on the edge she's actually living. Ricardo has a criminal record in Mexico City for aggravated assault.
Just imagine if Candace knew about Ricardo's criminal past. With her great judgment, who knows?
Candace.
After just a month of Candace and Ricardo's new living arrangements, Randy unexpectedly comes home to surprise his wife in the middle of the afternoon. When he approaches the bedroom door, he's startled to hear Candace moaning in ecstasy in their bedroom. Heartbroken and angry, Randy bursts through the bedroom door. Randy Roberts' wife has been cheating on him for months with her live-in lover, Ricardo, while Randy's at work. One day, Randy comes home to hear a loud, orgasmic moaning coming from their bedroom. On the verge of tears and full of frustration, a heartbroken Randy bursts through his bedroom door.
Oh.
He's completely shocked when he finds his wife, Candace, giving herself a personal pick-me-up.
Sorry?
Randy looks around the room. He reluctantly accepts that Candace is telling him the truth. Later that night, Randy tucks himself into bed next to his wife Candace and tries to go to sleep. As he's lying there in the quiet of the night, Randy hears something. It sounds to him like a man snoring. Randy rushes to his wife's closet and flings open the door.
Oh my God!
A startled Ricardo looks up as Randy pulls him out from under Candace's clothes.
Who is this?
Candace runs over to the closet in a flurry, trying to explain. Randy tells her he doesn't want to hear it. He knew something was wrong earlier in the afternoon when he caught her entertaining herself. Randy tells Candace he's going for a walk to calm down and that Ricardo better be gone by the time he gets home. Candace is confused on what to do and how to handle the situation, but Ricardo calms her down and realizes he has to get rid of Randy permanently. When Randy returns home from his walk, Ricardo appears out of nowhere, jumping him from behind and violently beats Randy to death with one of Candace's high-heel shoes. Candace hides in the closet where she can't see or hear anything. Ricardo lets her know when Randy's dead.
The moment Randy walks out of the house is significant because that's the moment that Candace and Ricardo start planning his death. And that's the moment that this goes from crime of passion to premeditated murder.
The murderous duo are emboldened by their heinous crime and celebrate by dragging Randy's lifeless body into the king-size bed with them. They proceed to have sex over and over again while Randy's corpse lies next to them. They even go as far as to record it and smile for the camera as they upload it to the cloud so that they can share it with Ricardo's buddies from the 4th of July. When they're done, they take Randy's body into the bathroom, and that's when they decide to cover his head with the white plastic bag. After a restful night's sleep, Candace gets up bright and early and pretends it's just another normal day.
We're in the hardware store.
Okay.
She grabs a shovel, plastic sheeting, duct tape, bleach, and some sodium hydroxide.
Say you're in a hardware store and somebody comes in and you see them purchase a shovel, some plastic sheeting, a little duct tape, some bleach, and some sodium hydroxide. Well, they're not painting their house, they're disposing of a body. Look at Murder for Dummies, page 1, supplies. That's what you buy.
Candace leaves the hardware store but gets a worried phone call from her mother-in-law.
Hey, Barbara.
She hasn't heard from Randy for their daily 1 p.m. chat, and he's not answering his phone. Candace quickly tells her mother-in-law Randy's really under the weather and he'll call when he's feeling better. Randy's mother offers to bring her son some soup. She promises it's not necessary, but recognizes her lies are only going to buy her so much time with Randy's mom.
Oh my God.
With the pressure mounting, Candace has an anxiety attack, and her mania crashes into a dark stupor. That's when she hatches her scheme to turn in her young lover and blame him for murdering her husband in a jealous rage. As she drives up to her house, she jumps out of the car, running desperately to her neighbor's front door. The police quickly arrive at the Roberts home and find Randy's dead body in the master bathroom covered in a blanket. They hear odd noises coming from the master bedroom closet. With guns drawn, police throw open the closet door, and they are truly shocked at what they see next. Randy Roberts has been bludgeoned to death by his cheating wife's young lover in what she reported to police as a fit of jealous rage. The police have also just discovered what could be the most disturbing part of the crime in the couple's closet. The police burst through the master bedroom's walk-in closet.
Get your hands up! Don't move!
What they find is almost unimaginable. Candace Roberts' young boy toy is sprawled out on a sleeping bag in his underwear.
Get down, get down, get down.
They quickly arrest Ricardo for Randy's murder and put him in handcuffs. Candace Roberts has just dodged a major bullet, at least in her own mind. Her young lover has just been arrested for the first-degree murder of her husband, Randy. And she's free and clear and has her house and Randy's money all to herself. As the police talk to her, they inform her that they know Randy was killed 16 hours before she ever reported the crime. She feigns surprise. They let her know that they're not buying her story and want to know why she's been lying to them. They also want to know about the cozy setup in the closet. Police inform her that they have uncovered some pretty incriminating evidence. A video that shows the aftermath of her husband's murder that was uploaded to the cloud. They arrest a stunned Candace on the spot and read her rights.
If you're going to commit a murder, don't take selfies with the bodies. Do you know who does that? Idiots.
Candace Roberts and her lover Ricardo were both convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
This is the story of the American dream gone tragically wrong. And these three stories intersected in one bedroom, and the lives of three people were destroyed.